Today we're going to learn how to graph fractions on a number line. This is one of my favorite visual representations for fractions where we can see that part-to-whole comparison and make sense of the given value. Let's go over our goals for today's lesson. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to graph a proper fraction on a number line. And once we get into our vocabulary, we'll distinguish the difference between a proper and improper fraction. Our next goal is how to graph an improper fraction on a number line. And lastly, you'll learn how to graph a mixed number on a number line. And if you would like more practice on converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, so maybe you like graphing improper fractions a little bit better, you can check out the link in the video description for a full lesson on how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. Real quick, here's something I want you to think about. Apps and AI can give you answers to math problems and questions in seconds, but here's what they can't do. They can't help you actually understand the math. And when test day comes, or when your teacher asks you to explain your work, that's when you realize shortcuts only get you so far. That's where I come in. I'm here to help you build the skill, not just the answer. I'll show you the how and the why, step by step with visuals so that it actually makes sense. By the end of this video, you won't need an app to help you graph fractions. You'll know exactly what to do yourself, and you'll understand why. Remember, I'm here to help you. So here's how you can help me. If this video makes fractions clearer, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a new lesson. And then drop a comment below. Tell me what helped or what you're still struggling with and what questions you have. I'll read and reply to every single one. Sound good? Let's get started. We're navigating fractions on the number line, and our focus is to think every number has a home somewhere on the number line. So where do fractions and their friends live? Now, in order to determine the location or the home of a fraction on the number line, first we have to understand the difference between these two different types of fractions, a proper fraction and an improper fraction. Now, a proper fraction is a fraction like 1/2, 3/4, 5/7. These are all fractions whose value is greater than 0 but less than 1. Unlike an improper fraction is where the numerator, the number on the top, is greater than the denominator. And because the number on the top is bigger than the number on the bottom, this makes the value of the entire fraction greater than 1. So all improper fractions live on the number line in a place that's greater than 1, while proper fractions only live between 0 and 1 on the number line. So we're going to start with looking at graphing a proper fraction on a number line, and we determined that a proper fraction, like this one here, 3/5, the numerator has a value that's less than the denominator. So the home of proper fractions are always between 0 and 1. And we can see on this worksheet that our number lines represent that exactly, only 0 to 1. And the dash in the middle right here is representing halfway between, so this is just giving us a marker of a half. So let's talk about 3/5. 3/5, remember, all fractions are part-to-whole comparisons. So we have this part, our numerator, compared to the whole amount. I like to start with our denominator because we want to think about our whole amount. And this number 5 is telling us how many pieces there are total in one whole. So if you think of a whole watermelon and I'm going to cut it up into parts, there would be 5 pieces total for one whole watermelon. So between 0 to 1, I want to make sure I have 5 equal parts. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and this is going to represent 1/5, 2, 3, 4, and then if I had 5 out of all 5 pieces of watermelon, I would have one whole watermelon. And we also know mathematically that 5 divided by 5 equals 1. So here are my fractions. We had 2/5, 3/5, and 4/5. Again, it's a part out of the whole amount. So if I'm giving you 1/5 of a watermelon, you're getting 1 out of the 5 slices. Okay, so now we are going to graph 3/5. And so I always like to think of jumping or hopping when I'm on my number line. I'm going to start at 0 and I need the part that you're getting of the watermelon is 3. So I want to show that with my number line. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 hops. And my answer is 3/5 right here. Let's try another problem together. So let's look right here at number 2. We have 8/9. So again, we are graphing a proper fraction, which means all proper fractions, the number on the top, the numerator, 8, is a smaller value than the number on the bottom, 9, the denominator. And that means it lives between 0 and 1. Okay, if we think of a pizza, if I have one whole pizza, I'm going to have 9 slices. This is the size when we think of part to whole. Okay, this is how many slices there are in one whole pizza. So if I had an entire pizza, I would have 9 out of the 9 slices would represent one whole pizza. And the part that you're going to get is you're going to get 8 out of the 9 slices. So we want to have 9 equal groups from 0 to 9. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, we're pretending that they're equal. My dashes aren't necessarily equal. It's close enough for these purposes. So you're going to get 8 out of the 9 slices of pizza. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the 9 slices. And that's where we would graph 8/9 on the number line. So let's have you give it a try. We're going to do number 3, and I'm going to have you do it on your own first. So number 3, we have 5/7. You can go ahead and pause and try this one on your own. 5/7, all fractions are a part to whole comparison, and I like to start with the whole amount on my number line. So I know that at 1, I would have, if I had one whole watermelon, one whole pizza, I would have 7 out of the 7 pieces. Okay, so I need to make 7 equal groups from 0 to 1. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the part that you're getting is the 5. So starting from 0, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices of pizza, and it's 5 out of the 7. Also, just a quick tip here, be wary of the middle dash marking a halfway mark. Okay, sometimes it will line up with your dashes and sometimes it won't. It's just a reference point, so don't let that mess you up. You might have accidentally counted that as an extra hop and landed in the wrong spot. Now we're going to practice graphing an improper fraction on a number line. And remember, an improper fraction means that the numerator has a greater value than the denominator. And we see that here with our first example. 9 is bigger than 5, our denominator. And this means that all improper fractions on a number line are greater than 1. So as we're working through these problems, we should notice a pattern from each problem to the next. Somewhere on the number line, wherever our answer is, it should not be between 0 and 1. Okay, when we talked about where fractions live on a number line, all improper fractions have a value that's greater than 1. That's what makes them improper, is that the number on the top, okay, we're going to have more pieces than how many we would find in one whole amount. So let's clean this up real quick. So back to 9/5. We're going to start off the problem just like we did with a proper fraction. We want to look at our denominator is 5. Again, if we're thinking of watermelons, in one whole watermelon, I would have 5 out of the 5 slices if I gave you a whole watermelon. So between 1 and 0, I'm going to have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 slices of watermelon. Now, what I'm giving you, the part that you get, is 9. And if I start handing out my slices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't have enough to give you 9, so I have to get a second watermelon. And because our denominator is 5, the second watermelon we have to cut with 5 slices per the watermelon. So here we would have 10 slices total out of the 2 watermelons, right? If we cut them into fifths, and you would have 2 whole watermelons. So we need to make sure, again, between 1 and 2 that we have 5 equal pieces. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we can go back and count from, we're going to count up from 5. I already gave you 1 whole watermelon. You're getting 9 slices. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 slices. You're just 1 slice away from having 2 whole watermelons. So again, if we check our answer, okay, all improper fractions live on the number line. They have a value that's greater than 1. So here's 1, and we're almost to 2. We have 9 fifths. We're going to do number 2 together, and then I'll have you try number 3 on your own. So number 2, we have 7 fourths, and we're graphing improper fractions on the number line. So we're always going to start right with our denominator. I like to start right at the bottom number. A lot of the times, if you're looking at your fraction and you're not sure where to begin, whether it's a proper or improper fraction, start with the denominator, because that is what's telling you how many pieces are in one whole amount. Remember, a fraction is a part to whole comparison. So in 1 whole cookie, there are going to be 4 parts. So this is, if I give you all 4 parts, 4 out of the 4 parts would be 1 whole cookie. And I'm going to count down 4, 3, 2, 1. There's 4 equal groups. And I'm giving you 7 pieces of a cookie. So I'm going to have to get a second cookie out, okay, and break it up into 4 parts. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And if you had 2 whole cookies broken up into fourths, you would have 8 fourths if I gave you the full 2 whole amounts of cookies. But I'm not. The part that I'm giving you is 7 out of the 4. So starting from 0, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fourths. 7 fourths of a cookie. Okay, now let's have you go ahead and try number 3. So you can go ahead and hit the pause button, start with your denominator, and graph 16 sevenths. How did you do? 16 sevenths, so we start with the denominator. There's going to be 7 equal parts in 1 whole pizza. If I gave you the entire pizza, you would have 7 out of 7 slices. So I'm going to count down from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's 7 equal groups between 0 and 1. But if I give you 7 slices, I'm supposed to give you 16. So I need a whole nother pizza. Okay, and if I had 2 pizzas sliced into sevenths, I would have 14 sevenths, and I would have 2 whole pizzas. So again, I'm going to count down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, there's 7 equals groups. I was second guessing myself. I want to make sure there was 7 equal parts. And then you still don't have enough pizza because you are getting 16 slices of pizza. So now I have to get a third pizza out. And with 3 whole pizzas, I would have 21 slices of pizza. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you are going to get 2 more slices, 1, 2. And so this would represent on the number line 16 sevenths. You would get 16 pieces of pizza that were sliced into sevenths, and that would be your answer. Okay, now let's start looking at mixed numbers. So looking at graphing mixed numbers on a number line, we just finished going over an improper fraction, and remember that improper fractions and mixed numbers, when we convert them, they have the same value. And if you need extra practice on how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, you can check out the link in the video description for a full lesson on how to do that. We're going to start with number 1 here, 4.5, and really mixed numbers are pretty easy to graph because we have whole numbers to start with. So 0, starting from 0, we're going to make our way to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 4.5. So we're going to use the same thought process that we did for a proper fraction. Now we have to graph the proper fraction 1/2, and so in one whole amount between 1, 4, and 5, we would have 2 out of the 2 pieces. So if I cut my watermelon into 2 big huge slices right in half, if you had 2 out of those 2 pieces, you would have one whole amount, but I'm only going to give you half, so 2, 1, I would have 1/2 right here. So this would represent 4.5. Okay, let's go ahead and look at another one, 7 2/3. So you can go ahead and start. You can jump up all the way to 7 if you want, but I know right here on my number line here, 7 whole pizzas, 7 whole candy bars, whatever you want to think of, and I'm also going to give you 2/3. So with this one whole candy bar, 7 plus 1 gives me 8. Okay, I have to get out that one more candy bar, and I'm going to cut it into 3 slices or 3 equal parts. If I gave you that 8th candy bar, you would have all 3 out of those 3 parts, but I'm only going to give you 2/3, so 3, 2, 1. And so counting up from 7, I have 7 1/3, 2/3. And so right here on my graph would be 7 2/3. Let's have you try number 3. You are going to graph 2 4/7, and we'll come back together and go over the answer. Number 3, we have 2 4/7, so let's make sure you got the right answer. You should start at 2 whole, and then between 2 and 3, we are graphing the proper fraction 4/7, so there needs to be 7 equal parts. So 7, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and make this thinner. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's kind of on top of that. Right there. I'll put it in blue. And you're getting 4 out of those 7 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 4/7 is going to be right here on the number line. Don't forget to actually plot your point. Okay, that way we know exactly where it's at on the number line, and we can visually see that it's a little bit more than halfway. It's a little bit more than 2.5. Okay, it's definitely greater than 1. It's definitely not in between 0 and 1 with our mixed numbers, and our answer is 2 4/7. Good job. Today you learned how to graph fractions on the number line. You learned more about where do specific types of fractions live on the number line. First, we looked at proper fractions. Now, proper fractions all live between 0 and 1 because their value is greater than 0 but still less than 1. Next, we learned about an improper fraction. All improper fractions have a value that's greater than 1, so they cannot land between 0 and 1 on the number line. And then lastly, we graphed mixed numbers on the number line. If you want to keep building your fraction skills, I've got 2 videos you need to check out. First, watch this one on how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. And then don't miss our next video where I cover how to convert fractions into decimals step by step. If this video helped you understand fractions better, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss a new lesson. And if you know someone else struggling with fractions, maybe a friend, a classmate, or even a parent trying to help with homework, share this video with them. Let's help each other out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.